the night of Meraj, but at the same time it is also known as Yawm al-Mub'as. Yawm al-Mub'as is the day when the Holy Prophet, he was given the command to propagate, to do tabligh. And this itself is a very special day, because this is the day when not just Islam was being given to people, but the prophethood of the Holy Messenger itself was being given to people. This was the day when the Holy Prophet proclaimed himself to be the Prophet, and the day that he was supposed to, or he started preaching about Islam. But one of the major events that did happen, it's Yawm al-Mub'as also, but the Meraj of the Holy Prophet itself is a topic that to this day, there's a difference of opinion between the Shias and the Sunnis. There isn't a difference of opinion between the Shias and Sunnis in regards to the Mub'as of the Holy Prophet. In regards to the Holy Prophet, him starting his tabligh, there is no difference of opinion there. There is a difference of opinion in how the Prophet started, but in regards to what it was, there is no difference of opinion. But when it comes to the Meraj of the Holy Prophet, when it comes to the ascension of the Holy Prophet, there is a difference of opinion. Where you have the majority of Muslims, they claim that the Meraj of the Holy Prophet was not a bodily Meraj. It was a spiritual Meraj, where the Holy Prophet went on Meraj only and only in spirit, where you will have narrations in their books that state, for example, one of the wives of the Holy Prophet, who states what? Who says that the Holy Prophet went to Meraj when he was in my house, laying next to me, and the bed was still warm. When it comes to this Meraj of the Holy Prophet, there are many surahs in the Quran which speak about it, but this surah itself, Surah Al-Isra itself, it deals with the Meraj of the Holy Prophet. And in this verse that I started this lecture off with, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? Subhanallazi asra bi'abdihi laylan min al-masjid al-harami ila al-masjid al-aqsa allazi barakna hawlahu linuriyahu min ayatina innahu huwas sami'ul basir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in this verse, glory be to him. Glory be to who? And why should glory be to that individual? Glory be to him who made his servant, who made his abd go on that nightly journey from Masjid al-Haram ila al-Masjid al-Aqsa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is praising himself. Why is he praising himself? Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praising himself? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is praising him. Why? He made his prophet go on that night journey. He made his prophet go on that night journey. From where? Masjid al-Aqsa from Masjid al-Haram ilal Masjid al-Aqsa. People, when they think about Masjid al-Aqsa, they think it's Masjid al-Aqsa right now that exists in Palestine. But when you look at the narrations, you understand that that is not that Masjid al-Aqsa. It's not the remote mosque. Masjid al-Aqsa means remote mosque. It's not the most remote mosque that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the Holy Prophet to. No, here there's some narrations from the Imams, they say that no, that's not the Masjid al-Aqsa that is being talked about. That is the Masjid al-Aqsa here. But when you talk about the most remote mosque, no, this mosque is something beyond this universe itself. That is the most remote place. That is the most remote place. So why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praising himself? Because to take an individual, not in their spiritual form, but to take an individual in their physical form, from this world, from this earth, cross everything that exists into that spiritual realm, it takes a mighty power. Just to leave this world, or just to leave earth, to get to outer space, how much power is required? Just to leave earth and leave the atmosphere of earth, how much power is required? So to leave not just this universe, but to get into a completely different universe would require more power than you and I can even imagine. So what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? He says what? Subhanallazi asra bi abdi laylan min al-masjid haram ila al-masjid al-aqsa allazi barakna hawlahu. When it comes to this Masjid al-Aqsa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what has he done to it? He's blessed the precincts, or what's around this Masjid al-Aqsa. He's blessed it. If it was this Masjid al-Aqsa here that exists, can you say that it's been blessed? If it's been blessed, how has it been blessed? Think about it. If it's this Masjid, if it's been blessed, how has it been blessed? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that what? The precincts of this Masjid al-Aqsa, they've been blessed. And not just that. What was the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the Holy Prophet to Meraj? This is another difference of opinion within Islam itself. Whereas the majority of Muslims, they say what? That the Holy Prophet was taken on to Meraj so that the Holy Prophet could see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that the Holy Prophet could see Allah. Whereas we Shias, we say no. The Holy Prophet was not taken to Meraj so that he could see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where we have proof from the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be seen. If you say that the Holy Prophet was taken to Meraj so that the Holy Prophet could see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what have you done? You've basically confined Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the sense of sight. Once you confine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to any one of your senses, then that ceases to be Allah. That's not Allah anymore. Because Allah is beyond senses. He is beyond all types of senses. So what do we say? We say, look at, for example, Nabila Musa alayhi salam. When Nabila Musa alayhi salam, he says, Ya Allah, let me see you. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reply in the Quran? He said, Ya Musa, you will never be able to see me. You will never be able to see me. Not just in this world, but even in the world to come. You'll never be able to see me. Why? Because if you're able to see me, then you've put a constraint on me. You've put a constraint on me. You and I will never be able to see the Zat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, we will never be able to see Zat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if we want to see some of His sifat, for example, if we want to see the sifat of power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we look at Amir al-Mu'mineen. If we want to see the sifat of rahmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we look at the Holy Prophet. We look at the Holy Prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself, He says what? He says that I created Muhammad from my rahmah and I created Ali from my quwwah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa. Amir al-Mu'mineen was created from the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Amir al-Mu'mineen was created from the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he was created from the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now you begin to understand why there was a crack in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's when you begin to understand why there was a crack in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because that individual who is the embodiment of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now coming into that house. But when it comes to this Meraj wasn't just spiritual. This Meraj was bodily. And how do we say, or what proof do we have to say that yes, this Meraj was completely bodily? This verse itself. The verse itself. This verse, it says what? It says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the abd to Meraj. Subhanalladhi asra bi abdihi laylan. Abd, it means what? It means servant. Abd, it means slave. Abd, it denotes spiritual and bodily. Abd is on the spirit and the body. If it was just the spirit, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have said, Subhanallazi asra bi ruhihi. He would have said this. Hatta in the time of Harun Rashid. Harun Rashid, he's in his castle, and they're debating, the people around him, they're debating whether the Meraj of the Holy Prophet was bodily or was it spiritual. They were having this debate for not just 1 day, 2 days, they were having this debate for 3 days. When they were having this debate for this long, who comes in to set them straight? Who came in to set them straight? Bahlul. Bahlul, he overhears this conversation. And he doesn't say anything. He just sits there and he overhears this conversation. When it's time for prayer, Bahlul, he tells Harun, can you allow me to lead the prayer? Allow me to lead the prayer. Harun Rashid, what does he do? He says, okay, go lead the prayer. This is how you know that these individuals did not even have an ounce of knowledge of Islam. Why do I say this? Bahlul, he used to go around acting like he is crazy. He used to go around acting like he is insane. Harun Rashid knew that. He knew, he himself, he used to say that this person is insane. If they individuals knew even a little bit about the laws of Islam, they would know that an insane person cannot lead the salat. An insane person cannot be the leader of salat. Yet Harun Rashid, he says, okay, go ahead. Bahlul, you can lead. When Bahlul starts reciting the second surah, he starts Surah Al-Isra. When he gets to this verse, he says, Subhanallazi asra'a biruhihi. He says this one time. Everyone that was behind him, they correct him. Bi abdi. He says it again, biruhihi. They say again, no, bi abdi. He says it a third time, biruhihi. They correct him again, bi abdi. Once the prayer was finished, he turns around and he says, do you know better than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You are the one debating for 3 days now that it was only the spirit of the Holy Prophet, the ruh of the Holy Prophet that went up. Yet when I read this in this surah, you guys are correcting me saying abdihi. If it was just the ruh, then what's the problem? What's the problem? That's when they say quiet. Because ruh, if it was just ruh, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have said that. If it was just ruh, then why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need to praise himself? Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need to praise himself if it was just ruh? The ruh can make journeys without the body. And we see that in our dreams. That it's the ruh that is making that journey. Our body is still here. But it's our spiritual body that is making the journey. And we're seeing what our spiritual body is doing. If it was just the spiritual body of the Holy Prophet that went on Meraj, then what's so special about it? There wouldn't be anything special about it. But the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He praises Himself, tells you what? That no, it wasn't the spirit, it was also the body. It was also the body. So that's how we know that it wasn't just the spirit of Allah subhanahu the Holy Prophet that went on Miraj, but it was also the body of the Holy Prophet. Sallallahu alaihi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When it comes to this Miraj was not figurative. This Miraj was not just spiritual. No, this Miraj was physical. This Miraj was bodily. So when it comes to this Miraj of the Holy Prophet, some people think that the Holy Prophet went on Miraj one time. No, according to Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. He says that the Holy Prophet in his lifetime went on Miraj almost 120 times. 120 times. That's why you see in books, in history books, that the Miraj happened this day. The Miraj happened this year. The Miraj happened that year. You'll find different years for the Miraj. Because you'll find different years for the Miraj, some people say, hold on a second. If there's this many years, what is this? They think that the Holy Prophet went on Miraj just one time. But no, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, no, the Holy Prophet did not go on Miraj one time. He went to Miraj over 120 times in his lifetime. So that's why in the history books you see that the Holy Prophet went to Miraj on this year. The Holy Prophet went to Miraj this other year. Why? Because it wasn't just one time. But when it came to the Miraj that most of us, we talk about, is the Miraj of the Holy Prophet that happened in Makkah. The Miraj of the Holy Prophet that happened in Makkah, or the Miraj of one of the Miraj that happened in Medina. The one that happened in Makkah is in regards to this verse. When the Holy Prophet went on that Miraj, you have to remember in Makkah, there weren't a lot of Muslims. Most of them were mushrik. Most of them were mushrik. 95% were mushrik. There were very few that accepted Islam. When the Holy Prophet went on that Miraj, the narration, and you can see this narration in Tafsir al-Burhan by Sayyid Hashim Bahrani, in regards to the narrations, in regards to this verse itself, where he says that when the night ascension came, Jibreel, he came down. Mikael, he came down. Israel, he also came down with Buraq. And this Buraq that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, this Buraq, this horse or this animal that was pure light, this was created thousands of years ago, and it was only and only created for the Holy Prophet and only for this purpose itself. Jibreel, he's the one who is holding on to the reins of this Buraq. One of the other angels, what are they doing? They're patting the Buraq. Another angel, they're straightening out the Holy Prophet's dress. The Holy Prophet himself, he says that when I sat on this buraq and I asked Jibreel, what is this? Jibreel, he told me, Ya Rasulullah, this is an animal that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created thousands of years ago. And He had kept it up in the heavens only and only for this reason, and only for you to ride. That is it. When the Holy Prophet sits on it, the Holy Prophet, he asks him, how fast is this ride? How fast is this ride? And Jibreel, he replies, Ya Rasulullah, the speed of this ride is that it can traverse 10,000 years in the blink of an eye. 10,000 years in the blink of an eye. Like some of the youngsters, if you want to know what that means, a year is what? A year is the distance or the time it takes for the earth to make one revolution around the sun. That is 1 year. See how long or how far this earth travels in 1 year. And multiply that by 10,000 years. When you do that, then you'll get the speed of buraq. That's what Jibreel is saying. When you do that, then you'll get the speed of buraq. But when the Holy Prophet went, the Holy Prophet himself, he says that while I went on this journey, I heard from one side, call out Ya Muhammad. I heard from another side, call out Ya Muhammad. And I saw from in front of me, there was a woman that appeared in front of me and her arms were showing. And when I got there, Jibreel asked, Ya Rasulullah, did you see anything on your way here? And the Holy Prophet, he goes, Jibreel, yes, I did. And I heard also, he goes, what did you hear? Once I heard from my right side, call out, Ya Muhammad. Did you pay any attention to it? No, I did not. And then later on, I heard from my left side, call out, Ya Muhammad. Did you pay any attention to it? No, I did not. And then later on, I saw in front of me, there was a woman that appeared in front of me. Did you pay any attention to her? No, I did not. Jibreel, he goes, Ya Rasulullah, the call from the right side, if you were to answer that call, your community would have turned Christian. The call from the left side, if you were to answer that call, your community would have turned into Jews. The woman that appeared in front of you, that wasn't just a woman, but that was the world that was appearing in front of you, in the form of that woman. If you were to answer her call, then your community would have left the afterlife and they've only followed the world. They would have only followed the world. This is why you see that from the three religions, which religion is the one that focuses a lot on the afterlife? Islam. It focuses a lot on the afterlife. When it comes to your amal, it focuses a lot. But Jibreel, he was saying, if you were to answer that call, the Muslims would have preferred this world over the next world. And the Holy Prophet himself, he says, I kept going. I went further. I crossed the first heaven, I crossed the second heaven. When I got up all the way, I saw this angel. And this angel, he had the whole universe, he had the whole world between him. And I asked Jibreel, who is this angel? And Jibreel, he replied, Ya Rasulullah, this is the angel of death. This is the angel of death. And I went and I said my salam. When I said my salam to this angel asked, Ya Rasulullah, when you see Ali ibn Abi Talib, send him my salam. When you see Ali ibn Abi Talib, send him my salam. The Holy Prophet, he says, okay, when I go back, I will. The Holy Prophet then goes to the first heaven. He sees the prophets in the first heaven. He sees some angels come towards him. The angels, they ask Jibreel, who is this? Jibreel, he tells them, this is the Holy Prophet. When they hear this, they tell the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, our salam be upon you. And when you see Ali ibn Abi Talib, send him our salams. In the first heaven. In the second heaven, the Holy Prophet sees more prophets. The angels, they come and greet him. the same thing happens. Ya Rasulullah, when you see Ali ibn Abi Talib, send him our salam. The third heaven, the fourth heaven, the fifth heaven, the sixth heaven, hatta the seventh heaven. The angels, they come. Ya Rasulullah, when you see Ali ibn Abi Talib, send him our salams. Send him our salams. This is why when you see the Holy Prophet himself, when he gets to that point of 2 bows length or closer, when he gets to that point of 2 bows length or closer, we say that that wasn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No. 2 bows length or closer, if you say that, that means what? That means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a physical body, the Holy Prophet has a physical body, and there was only 2 bows length distance between the body of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the body of Rasulullah. There is no distance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, he says what? I am more closer to an individual than their own jugular vein. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is closer to an individual than their own jugular vein, then what does it mean that now the Holy Prophet is meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala up in the heavens? No, it wasn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The narrations themselves, they say that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the Holy Prophet to the heavens, and he got to that point, he sees that there's a cloud. And in that cloud, he sees that there's a bed that is made out of gold. And on that bed, he sees that there's a picture of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He sees that there's a picture of Amir al-Mu'mineen in that bed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he asked him, Ya Rasulullah, do you know who that is? Ya Allah, this is Amir al-Mu'mineen. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he tells the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, I want you to marry your daughter to Amir al-Mu'mineen. I want you to marry your daughter to Amir al-Mu'mineen. This Meraj, which speaks about the marriage of Amir al-Mu'mineen and Lady Zahra salawatullahi alaiha, it happened where? In Makkah? No, this Meraj did not happen in Makkah. This Meraj happened in Medina. This is how you understand, or you begin to understand, that the Meraj did not happen just one time. It happened many times. Because on this Meraj, where this verse was revealed, when the Holy Prophet came back, he tells Abu Sufyan, he tells the mushrikeen of Makkah that I went on this Meraj and I saw all of these. These mushrikeen of Makkah, they tell the Holy Prophet that, Ya Abu Qasim, we've gone to Sham. We know how Masjid al-Aqsa looks. We know how it looks. The Holy Prophet, then he tells them, look, I know exactly how many people are in your caravan that went for the trades. Abu Sufyan, you have this many people in your caravan. You have this many camels that are in your caravan. And the leader of your caravan is this individual. And they're going to come back on this day. They're going to come back on this Fulan day. He tells all the Quraysh people all of this information. When they come back, or before they come back, all the leaders of the Quraysh, especially people like Abu Lahab, people like Abu Sufyan, they tell the Holy Prophet that let's see if what you say is true. Let's see if what you say is true. When the caravan was coming back from Sham, they asked the people that, did you see these types of buildings over there? And they said, yes, we did. Yes, we did. They came back exactly the same day and exactly the same time that the Holy Prophet said that they were going to come back. So that's when Abu Lahab, Abu Sufyan, they asked their caravan, did you see these types of buildings? Yes, we did. Did this incident happen? Yes, it did. So when they came back, the Holy Prophet asked them both, what do you think now about my claim that I'm truly a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And what do these individuals say? These individuals say, Ya Abul Qasim, even if we were to see angels descend upon you, even if we were to see angels come to you, we would still not believe you to be a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We would still not believe that you're a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'd continue to believe that you're a magician. Look at who's calling the Holy Prophet a magician here in Makkah. The mushrikeen of Makkah are calling the Holy Prophet a magician. So when you have Muslims in Medina that are calling the Holy Prophet a magician, what does it tell you about their religion? They're really not Muslims. Inside, they're still mushrik. Because it was only the mushrikeen that believed him to be a magician. Sallallahu alaihi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When it comes to this Meraj, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the Holy Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks the Holy Prophet a question. He goes, Ya Rasulullah, who do you love the most from your creatures? And the Holy Prophet, he answers, Ya Allah, Ali. I love Ali the most. And he tells the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, turn around. And the Holy Prophet says that as soon as I turned around to my right, I see Ali ibn Abi Talib behind me. I see Ali ibn Abi Talib. That the narrations, they state that when the Holy Prophet came back from Meraj, when he told Amir al-Mu'minin, Ya Ali, do you want me to tell you what I saw? The Amir al-Mu'minin said, Ya Rasul, do you want me to tell you what you saw? Do you want me to tell you what you saw? So that means what? That means that Amir al-Mu'minin himself was on that Meraj. Amir al-Mu'minin himself was on that Meraj. When it comes to this Meraj, it's as stated before that this Meraj was done why? So that the Holy Prophet could see the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, but the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran itself, it says that the Holy Prophet was taken up to Meraj so that he could be shown our signs. Our signs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's signs are different from His Zat. His signs and Him. His signs are different from Him. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself says in the Quran that we took Him up to Meraj so that He could see our signs, then how can the Muslims claim that the Holy Prophet went on Meraj to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This itself, it amounts to kufr. This itself, it amounts to, at the very least, tahrif of the Quran. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that it was for our signs. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? It wasn't just any signs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took him up to Meraj to see His greatest signs. What were these greatest signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They weren't the angels. No. Why? Because it was these angels that did sajda to Adam alayhi salam. It was these angels that did sajda to Adam alayhi salam. If it was the angels that were the greatest signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then what about Adam alayhi salam? If you say it was the prophets, they're the greatest signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they're the greatest signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Holy Prophet asked each one of the prophets that he saw up in heaven, what was the reason that you were given prophethood? He asked Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. He asked Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. He asked Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. He asked Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam. He asked all the prophets, what was the reason that you were given your prophethood? All of them, they say that we were given prophethood after accepting your nabuwat and the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. After accepting your nabuwat and the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So that means what? That means that after the Holy Prophet, the next greatest is Amir al-Mu'mineen. After the Holy, even the prophets themselves, they're saying that we were given prophethood for this reason, because of the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So it wasn't the angels that were the greatest signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hatta Iblis himself, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told everyone to do sajda, what does Iblis say? قَالَ يَا إِبْلِيسُ مَا مَنَعَكَ أَن تَسْجُدُ لِمَا خَلَقْتُ بِيَدَيْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says to Iblis, Ya Iblis, what was it that prevented you from doing sajda to whom I created with my own two hands? Astakbart am kuntu min al-a'lin. Are you of the proud or are you of the a'lin? Are you of the people of high status? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Iblis this, that means what? That means that anyone that did sajda to Adam alayhi salam, they were not of the illiyin. They weren't of the illiyin. They weren't of those people that were of high status. So that means that there were people that were of high status that did not do sajda to Nabiullah Adam alayhi salam. If there were those people that existed of high status that did not do sajda to Nabiullah Adam alayhi salam, then that means that they are the greatest sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they're the greatest signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who are these individuals? And the Holy Prophet himself, he says that when I went to that Meraj, I saw, not in this physical form, but in the form of light, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain, all the way to the 12th Imam. What were they doing? Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. The Holy Prophet, he says that I saw the likeness of all of these individuals in a Nurani form. What were they doing? They were praying under the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were praying under the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Some people, they might ask, how is it possible that the Holy Prophet went on Meraj in his bodily form? It can't be possible. Because of what? The laws of physics. And I've said this many times before, that possibility is of three kinds. One type of possibility, one type of impossibility is what? Logical impossibility or logical possibility. Meaning what? Logically is doable. Another type is scientific. Another type is scientific. Scientific possibility being what? Meaning that because we don't have the scientific know-how right now, that doesn't mean that we can't achieve something later on. What do I mean? We can travel from here to the moon, yes or no? Yes. Because we have the technology to do it. Does science say that we can't travel from here to, for example, Saturn? No. Scientifically, we're able to do it. Scientifically, we're able to do it. The only problem is that we don't have the means right now. But if we have the means, we're able to do it. We're able to do it. Logical, meaning what? 2 plus 2 equals 4. An even number plus an even number will always equal an even number. Yes? 2 plus 2 will never equal 5. Why? Because if you were to say 2 plus 2 equals 5, that means that 1 2 is an even number, another 2 is an odd number, which is impossible for 2 to be an even number and an odd number. So that's why 2 plus 2 can never equal 5. Logical impossible, if it was logically impossible, that means that logically, if it's not possible, then it will never happen out here in this world. It will never exist out here in this world. One other, heat, it transfers from where to where? Heat, it transfers from, I know everyone here, alhamdulillah, learned, educated. They know basic chemistry, they know basic physics. Heat, it travels from a place of high concentration to a place of low concentration, meaning what? Something that is hotter will go to some place that is cooler. Yes or no? Yes. Is there anything logically preventing me from going to some place that is hot and expecting to be not burned? Logically speaking, is that possible? Logically speaking, is that possible? Forget what you experience. What you experience is something different, but I'm talking about logically, is that possible? That you go to a place, you go into a fire and the fire doesn't touch you, it doesn't burn you. Logically, is that possible? It's not? Did it not happen to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam? It happened with Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, yes or no? That fire, he went into the fire, but the fire did not burn him. It did not touch him. Why was that? Because that law that was there was suspended by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That law of heat was suspended by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that means what? That means that it's not logically impossible. Yes, in our senses, It's something different. We send something different. But that doesn't mean that it's logically impossible. So what prevents us from going long distances? Is it logical impossibility or is it scientific impossibility? Scientific impossibility. That's it. Just for us to go from here to the moon, what do we need? We need a rocket. We need a space suit that will allow us to breathe in space. We need all of this. But when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why is it impossible for Him, who is the creator of all of these laws of physics, who's the creator of all of the laws of physics, to suspend those laws? If He could suspend the law for Nabiullah Ibrahim alayhi salam, why can He not suspend those laws for the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Why can He not suspend those laws? Look at the miracles themselves. Miracles. That's what Meraj was, a miracle. That's what people need to understand. Every single miracle that was done by a prophet, why is it called a miracle? Because every single individual could not be able to do it. If the whole world got together, they wouldn't be able to do it. They wouldn't be able to do it. The miracle of Nabiullah Musa alayhi salam, of splitting of the sea, for example. Everyone agrees that it was a miracle. Everyone agrees that it was a miracle. Did it happen again afterwards? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Was it somehow logically impossible for that sea to split? Logically, it wasn't impossible. Scientifically, it would have been, because science didn't exist. Now, what can they do? They make bridges on the seas now. So it means what? It means that going those long distances is not logically impossible. So when it comes to the Meraj of the Holy Prophet, to think that, oh no, this Meraj itself is logically impossible is absolutely wrong. Why? Because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can suspend those laws of physics for Nabiullah Musa alayhi salam, for Nabiullah Ibrahim alayhi salam, then why can't He suspend those laws for His greatest messenger? What would be the problem there? There shouldn't be a problem. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Anyone that is up to date with physics, Dr. Michio Kaku, if you've looked at his videos, please, he's a physicist who teaches, I believe he's a teacher here in the United States. And what does he teach? He teaches string theory. Famous in physics. He teaches string theory. There's some things that he has said, if you watch his videos, they're very amazing. If you look into it, what he said and you compare them to what Islam says. For example, Tayyab Hussain. They asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Imam Musa Kazim, all the Imams, when they turn night into day and day into night, they asked the Imams, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, how are you able to do this? The Imams, they replied that there's strings that are there. How are you able to do Tayyab Hussain? It's through strings. I know they said that it's through strings. When we pull on those strings, all of this changes. All of this changes. How are you able to do Tayyab Hussain? Tayyab Hussain means what? Tayyab Hussain means that you're not walking towards it. It's coming to you. Wherever you're going, you're not walking towards it. It's coming to you. They asked the Imams, how are you able to do that? They said, what? The land, it folds for us. The land, it folds for us. If you look at Dr. Kaku's lectures, he says the same thing. He says what? He says that if the land folds for you, if the land folds, he doesn't, I'm sure he does, he's not aware of these Shia sayings. But he himself, he says, if the land folds, then that means what? That means that you're not going to it, but it is coming to you. If the land is folding, you're not going to it, but it is coming to you. And that's what the Imams were saying. When were they saying this? 1,200 years ago. 1,200 years ago. That's how they're the ones that do that they're artists. That they don't go to it, but it comes to you. When it comes to physics itself. Right now, they've been able to transport what? Humans? No, not yet. But they've been able to transport, for example, particles from one place to another. They've been able to transport particles from one place to another. Dr. Kaku, he's the one who says this. We've been able to do it. He goes, it's not far that because we're made of these particles and we're able to do it to particles, it's not hard to believe that we'll be able to do it to us also. Transport what? One human being from one place to another. So scientifically itself, transporting is possible. When it's possible, then why would you question the Meraj when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why would you question it? Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This was in regards to the Meraj. I said in the beginning that one of the other events is Yawm al-Mub'ath, where this was the call of the Holy Prophet. And this itself, like I said in the beginning, this itself was a great achievement. Why? It's because from this call, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's nur, it did what? It shone on this world. If it wasn't for this command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Holy Prophet to proclaim Islam, to go and preach about Islam, we would not have this religion of Islam with us. We would not have this religion. When this verse of proclamation came, or when the order of proclamation came, who was it that the Holy Prophet went to first? Who was it? It was people within the family, the Quraysh. First and foremost, it was the Quraysh. Afterwards, then it was everyone else. So you see that when it comes to this proclamation, you first invite people that are within the household, then you go outward. Straighten up everyone that is within the house, then go outward. But today, you have Muslims that are doing all this dawah. You see those videos on YouTube. They're doing dawah, this, dawah, that. They haven't even straightened themselves out and they're asking other people to come to Islam. They haven't even straightened themselves. They themselves aren't on the right path and they're asking other people to come to Islam. And you see that when these people come to that Islam, within a few years they leave it. Or they'll do more research and then they'll come to Shia Islam. They'll come to Shia Islam. And look at this. How many Shias do you see that are doing dawah? None. I haven't come across, maybe there are, but the amount of Sunnis that are doing dawah, you don't see as many Shias calling people. Why? Why is that? If you look into history, did any of our Imams go to people and tell them to become Muslim? No, none of them did. None of them did. If they wanted to know about Islam, they came to them. Who was it that went and forced people to become Muslim? It was people from this other group. That's why, if you want to follow the footsteps of the Aimah alayhim salam, then do what they did. There's no need for you to go to them and forcefully convert them or forcefully try to bring them here. No. When people came to them, the Imams, and they asked about the religion, the Imams, then it was wajib for them to tell them about the religion. But they never went themselves and forcefully brought people to the religion. That wasn't their job. That wasn't their job. And please, I know some of you guys in college and university, you might have the urge to go do that, but please do not do that. Don't do that. If they want to know about Islam, Get them to know about Islam through your akhlaq. Get them to know about Islam through your akhlaq. If you promise something, do it. Once they see this, that you're this type of individual, then they'd want to know about Islam. That's when you can tell them about Shia Islam. But there's no reason for you to go and try to convert them. No. That's not what the Imams did. That's not what the Holy Prophet did. Did he go to every door and knock on the door and force them to come into Islam? No, he didn't. They came to Islam based on his akhlaq. When he was in Mecca, what would happen? The path that he used to walk on, there would be a mushrik that him and his wife, they would constantly throw manure on him, and they'd constantly put thorns in his pathway, thorns and trash in his pathway. Every day, the same pathway the Holy Prophet used to walk on, they constantly do this every day. One day, the Holy Prophet, he sees that this isn't happening. He sees that it's not happening. When he sees that, he goes and knocks on the door. The lady of the house, she answers. And he says, the Holy Prophet, he says to her, how's the gentleman of the house doing? How's the man of the house doing? She says, the man of the house is ill. He says, can I come and see him? Now this woman is thinking that the Holy Prophet is now doing what? He's going to come here and gloat. He's going to come here and make fun of this man. She says, you can come in. When he goes in, the man is there also. He's very ill. And the Holy Prophet asks him, how are you feeling? That man, he looks at the Holy Prophet and he goes, I thought that you were coming in here to make fun of me. But no. You've come in here and now you're asking how I'm doing. Ya Abul Qasim, I'm very sorry for the way I treated you. I'm very sorry for the way I treated you. And now that I know that you have this type of akhlaq, this is the akhlaq of a prophet and I want to accept Islam. This is how you bring people to Islam. You don't need to have a 2-foot beard and go have Quran with you and tell people about. No, you don't need to do that. Do it with your akhlaq. That's it. If they accept Islam, then they accept it. If they don't, then they don't. This is what that call was supposed to be. And this is that call that the Imams, from Amir al-Mu'mineen all the way to the 12th Imam, that's the call that they followed. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgives our sins. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgives the sins of all of the mu'mineen, mu'minat that are gathered here tonight. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He hastens the reappearance of Imam Zaman alayhi salam. Let us and our families be able to sacrifice our life for him and his cause. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Please recite Surah Fatiha for your marhumeen, for the marhumeen whose names are on the wall in the back, for the marhumeen of all of the people that are gathered here tonight, and for the marhumeen of all of those shuhada fiqh Jafariya. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. اللهم اغفرهم وارحمهم واسكنهم بجوار محمد وآل محمد صلى على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. One announcement, we do have tomorrow also. Tomorrow is Rawanagi of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. So we do have a majlis here tomorrow too. Same time, 8 o'clock. One person, 1,000 people, does not matter. 8 o'clock is when it will start. So anyone that wants to recite, please come on time. So the whole program can finish by 10 o'clock. We're done. We're 10 minutes early. We're done. But if there are any questions, please. If not, then ziyarat. Yes. Yeah. Asan.